So now that that bearing is lubricated, just going to give her a little spin here just to show you how well that works. Just a nice little easy spin, and it will go nearly forever. So you can see that that is really, really good right now. I barely put any weight on that. Nice and quiet movement, and really no need to do much else with this at all. So it's in real good shape there. Now, as you can see from the deck on this turntable, we still got lots of cleaning up, excuse me, to do on this one, and we'll get to it here here in a sec. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to remove the platter, and I'll show you how to do this. The first step that we're going to need to do is to remove this plastic ring right there. Now what I have here is a little, just a very small, tiny screwdriver. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just pry underneath here. If you just very, very gently with this, you'll see there's three sort of just little prongs that, or little tabs, sorry, that sort of hold this in place. And when you pop that out, you'll have access to the mechanism. Now the spindle just pulls out, and you'll see then you can see down into there. This is interesting because I think it's the same spindle as it is for the changer, but this is actually not a changer, so it won't actually work. But we're going to pry that. Out. Now I only have one hand here. I don't have any help as a cameraman, but you can see what I'm talking about here. You can just sort of poke it underneath there. Once you do that, you'll find the tabs that you're looking for. So I'm going to go and pull that out, and we'll have another look. All right, so you can see here, I've just flipped the end. I've just used that little screwdriver, and then you can see one of those little tabs that I'm talking about. It's very small. Just holds it in there, and literally pop that out. There it is, right there. Just a little disc like so. It's kind of shiny on one side, so that's the underside, and then the top side is more of a matte finish, like the actual turntable mat. So now that that's out, what you're going to see is that there is a clip in here that holds the turntable platter in place, and it's not a C, it's not like a typical C clip like you'd see now. It's actually like a wire, sort of a wire clip, and it's not very particularly difficult to get out, but you may need to, if you look inside here, you'll see that this is sort of a D shape, and you can see that there is the wire sort of goes through the stem this way. So you need to just line that up. That's the direction you got to pull it. If you try to pull it in another direction, it isn't going to go anywhere. So we've just lined that up. We're going to pull it straight back here, and that should come right out like so. And there you go. Simple as that. And I've got a nice little line, and that's what it looks like. And what you're going to have to remember when you put it back together is, again, you're going to have to align that up exactly the same as that. Now once that's off, the turntable can literally just, or the platter can just pull straight off. So I'm gonna stop the camera here and pull that off and give you a look inside. All right, and there you go. Your platter is off, and you've got access to the top side of your turntable mechanism. Now there's obviously far less mechanism here, materials here, but there is one really important part. Before I show you that, here's a look at your actual platter from the inside. So what you can see is that there is a stroboscope disc actually printed inside of of the deck, and that's usually in pretty good shape because it's obviously not exposed. But before you put it back, you're going to want to maybe give this a wipe with just a nice lint-free cloth and so on. That's where the idler drive actually works. You just want to clean that up just to make sure it's not dirty. You can see there's a little something that's leaked its way into there, and you know, I'll want to wipe all that off, and we'll do that before it's done, but that's what it looks like. Now, going back to the turntable mechanism, so there's a couple really important pieces here. So if you are not familiar with idler drive turntables, here is your idler wheel. So this is the part that actually makes your turntable go, and it's also a part that is possibly going to be problematic for you depending on the age of the turntable. I'm not going to touch this right now because I have grease on my hands, and that's another really important point. Whatever you do, do not get oil or grease or anything either on the idler wheel itself, any of those surfaces, or on this, which is your drive. If you do, you're going to get slippage, and it's not going to work properly, and you may actually even damage it. Excuse me, that wheel. So that's really important. If you do, or you're by accident or something like that, you're going to want to make sure that that's cleaned off really well. You can use alcohol, the alcohol if you get it on this drive thing. I am extremely reluctant to use alcohol anywhere near this. It just doesn't seem to agree with the rubber on these old idler wheels. Now, if you do have a problem with the idler wheels, so if this feels, hard, the rubber's hardened, or it's cracked, or it looks misshapen, or anything like that, or if the very edge of this is super, looks really shiny and slippery, there's a good chance you're gonna have to get this replaced. And there's no surefire way to tell until you try it and see if it actually works on your table. There are some tips online. People will say to try to refurbish these. Some people will try to run them and just run some sand. If it's a shiny edge, for example, run some sandpaper and get it down just a very small amount to fresh rubber, that kind of thing. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to figure out. These are available. There are people who rebuild them and so on. Look around online. Just Google idler wheel Garrard 0100 turntable, and you'll probably find some possible suppliers. I would stay away from, if you see somebody with new old stock, because it's still going to be old rubber. I wouldn't go for that. Try to find somebody who actually rebuilds these, or so on, so you can get brand new rubber. You may not need that. Many of these seem to work fine once you rebuild them, but if you do, that's a part that's going to really make or break your turntable if it doesn't work properly. Now, you'll see, a few little things in here that are greased up and so on. There's not much. You just, again, same procedure as the bottom, clean it up and so on. Now, this one is your problem. This is the single biggest problem area that I found with these turntables, and this is part of the trigger for the your on-off switch underneath. So basically, it's a link that when you pull on the mechanism, okay, to start your turntable or turn it on in manual mode, what happens is this mechanism moves, and there's a little trigger switch underneath that locks into place. Now, and then of course when it's off, it shuts it off. But what happens with this is this mechanism right here, get over there, this mechanism right here is fits very tightly over this shaft, and what happens is it's greased inside, and that grease gets sticky, and this mechanism doesn't work. So what ends up happening is the turntable won't stay on. If you turn it on or whatever, what happens is this switch it won't lock into place, and the turntable won't stay on, particularly in manual mode. It seems to have a problem. So what has to happen is this one needs to come off to actually be. This is the only piece that you have to take off and clean it. Now it's not as bad as it looks. This spring, you just have to kind of get it out of place right here. Pop this little C-clip off over here, and the mechanism lifts off, and it will come out. Now the problem is if it's stuck, this one actually moves pretty good. It may come off. It may come off easy, but most of these are stuck. You cannot get it off without heat. And what I usually do with this is take a soldering iron and just hold it, against the sides, for a while until this heats up quite a bit, and then that melts the old grease inside, and you can pry it out. You have to be very, very careful when you're lifting this up. Don't pull on it. Just do it gently, because if you bend it, you've ruined it. And so this is the only delicate part of the thing. But if you've heated this up really good, it will come off. It tends to get right at the very end. Sometimes it tends to get cut. I think it's because it gets cut on the C-clip notch right at the very bottom. Just work it around gently until it lifts off. And once you've done that, just clean it out thoroughly inside, clean that shaft, and re-grease it accordingly. What I usually use is something a little bit more powerful to clean this on the inside. So you can use something like Goof Off, or paint thinner or something, anything like that, something that's more of a solvent base, just to clean it, just to make sure you get it really, really clean. And then just a little thin spread of the synthetic grease on there, pop it back on, and you'll be good to go for probably years. And but this is the trickiest part of the whole thing. So I'm going to get started on this, and we'll come back to you later. All right, here we are. I have now cleaned the turntable pretty thoroughly. I'm sure I'll do a touch-up or two here or there, but as you can see now, this thing looks absolutely mint condition. These turntables are quite well actually quite well put together. I'll just give you a little view from the top here. It's the paint on these things is actually done really, really well, and it cleans up exceptionally well when you do this. I use my favorite thing. I'm in Canada. I don't know if you can get this outside Canada. I'm not really sure, but it is world's best cleaner. So it's great for these things. It takes off any grease or anything like that. You just spray it on, and it literally dissolves pretty much whatever's on there. And just a nice microfiber cloth or something like that polishes this thing up extremely well. And as I said, it looks like it looks as close to brand new as you can get for for a 45 46-year-old turntable. So just great stuff, and this thing's in excellent condition. Now I always like to clean it up before I do the re-grease or anything like that on the top. And now we're going to get into this part here that I explained previously that has to come off. So as you can see on here, it just sort of sits there. I'm going to clean this up after I take it off, just get that old grease out of there. But you can see on the top here there is just one little C-clip. So if you're not sure how to get these things off, I'll show you just again a little. I'm going to use just a little screwdriver here, and usually you can just sort of twist these things. Just put it right in that groove there and twist it off. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. You may need to put something else here just to keep it from spinning. But when you twist it, it will come. It'll come right off. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, so I'm just going to stop here and twist this thing off. I don't have an assistant here to help me with the camera this morning, so I'm just going to stop, and I'll do this, and I'll come back and show you in a second.